Welcome to today's episode on Becoming Her, the CEO, the brand, the healer. Today is the first episode of this new revamped podcast. And if you have been following me for a while, you know that a lot has changed for me. And this is the first episode of the new version of our podcast, Becoming Her. And my name is Vanessa. If you're new here, I am a master coach and a strategist. But more importantly, I am here to remind you as a woman that transformation starts in the brain and you have the power to transform any area of your life. I am your biggest believer because I always say that if I was able to do it, you are able to do it. So today's episode is the neuroscience of goal setting. And the reason why I wanted to bring on this episode as the opening of this new era inside of Prospera Mama is because the goals that we have are directly linked to the beliefs that we have. And since I believe that you are powerful and that you can achieve anything you put your hands to and that you in an airy area, then I think this was the best podcast to start with, or the best episode to start this podcast. So I cannot go away from my beliefs and values. And I believe in neuroscience, which is the art of changing the brain, and energetics. It is becoming conscious of what we're not conscious of, because the body is the subconscious mind, and the body has been accustomed throughout our years of programming, because that's really what it is, to act, believe, and behave in a certain way. And that is the bridge between you reaching your goals and you feeling like a failure. And feeling like a failure is a lie that comes from a belief. So the first thing is we always have to create a model of understanding. And let me break this down, because if you know me, you know that my alter ego is that I think I am a teacher. So if you understand this, then my job here was done. And also because when the brain learns, it creates new pathways. And besides getting into like complex neuroscience, it basically means it gives you an open door to think differently. So when you create a model of understanding, whether it's because you're starting your meditation journey or because you're starting to build a business or whatever it is, this model of understanding allows you to question the beliefs that you've had in the past. And whatever we do not question, we adopt as a true truth in our life. So inside of my membership, my neurocoach membership, we were talking about, we are actually doing a 90-day sprint. And a 90-day sprint is basically what is used in a lot of organizations, because when we are able to use all of our focus, our intention into something, we're not only literally energizing it, but we're putting force behind it, right? And it's not about anything else than reaching your goals without feeling burnt out or staying in the middle. So inside of the membership, one of the most important things that we had to do was get clarity on our goals. And when the girls inside of the membership started to write down or share their goals, we were able to reverse engineer it and see why many times they would stay stuck in a goal. So when we are goal setting, the first thing that I want you to know is that in your brain, you have different compartments, and those compartments are all there to protect you, because really the power of the brain, or the job of the brain, is to keep us safe. But the brain does not know that something new or challenging is good for our future. What it thinks is, I've never experienced this, so I'm going to go straight into fear. And fear, what does in the body is you have to hide, you have to run, or you have to flee because someone is going to hurt you. And the brain only has information from the past. So let's say that you have never reached your goals, or that you have a lot of limiting beliefs. I want you to know something, and maybe not a lot of coaches are going to tell you this, but you absolutely have the power to change. But I want you to be really aware, and like a conscious woman that you are, is that it's going to take repetition. It's going to take time. You need to repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. And where a lot of people get stuck is where they're like, oh, I repeated it for 2 days and it didn't work for me. No, you have to repeat it a lot. There's tools that you can use so that your belief in what you're saying actually anchors, like meditation, because you lower your brain waves, reading a book, different things, basically productive habits, right? So, when you are setting your goals, in order to use neuroscience, you need to know basically what your brain does when you're setting a goal. And usually, what we do is we say, I'm going to give you a clear example. One of my clients said, I want to reach 10K a month, which is a very common goal because a lot of people that are service providers or coaches, we have this idea that 10K months is really like, that's it, you made it. If you make 10K months, you have made it. And before you reach K months, when you set that as a goal, if you have never reached that amount, the first thing that's going to happen is that your amygdala, which is the fear center of the brain, is immediately going to go into action. And action for your amygdala means don't do anything. It won't happen. A huge wave of resistance is going to come, and you're going to be really attracted to shiny object syndrome. And shiny object syndrome is something that haunted me for years. The next course, the next way to do this, the next hype, the next wave. And of course, our energy becomes scattered in all of these things, and we don't go anywhere. We don't reach anything. Nothing happens within us. So the first thing that you want to know is, okay, am I chasing shiny object syndrome? Am I in this for the long run? And that means that you are to do the uncomfortable so that you can get really good. Because they say that the person that becomes an expert, it's not because they have anything different than you, it's because they allowed themselves to fail more times than you have, right? That's really like the science behind it. So when you are setting your goals, instead of setting your goals to be results driven, the key here, listen to this, is to set your goals to be identity driven. Because if you change your identity, we're going to talk about this in the energetic part, it means that you are creating a new personality. It means that the energy that you are emitting right now is a different energy than you're going to emit, because someone that has a clear goal of becoming consistent, acting like the CEO that earns 6 and 7 figures a month or a year, somebody that is full of self-belief, somebody that radiates confidence from within, is someone that even if you don't know her or if you haven't met someone like this, you already have this level of understanding where you know, okay, that person isn't somebody that's constantly self-doubting herself. That person is somebody that utilizes her time wisely, which means that either she is investing her time in things that are going to give her a return on investment. And that doesn't necessarily mean only doing work things. On the contrary, it's somebody that really guards her time and has really strong boundaries because she knows how important it is. And I'm going to give you an example of this. When you are changing identity in order to reach your goals, you have to take kind of an analysis of your life, right? If you wake up and you know that the first person that you have to invest is in yourself, whether that means a walk, whether that means getting ready for the day, whether that means reading, even if it's 15 minutes, whether that means journaling, these things are actions that the new identity is going to take in order for her to have the best possible outcome. She's becoming organized. She's becoming confident. She is believing in herself. She is loving herself to the point that when she has all those limiting beliefs that are coming up, she, even though she hasn't seen something in the tangible yet, something materialized yet, she understands that what she says to herself really does produce results on the outside world. This is not anything other than quantum physics, right? And when you little by little start doing that, you are changing your identity. And how does that manifest in the outer world? Okay, so the first thing is you are sending the signal to your brain that you are safe, that it is okay to try new things. The second thing is you are not going to be discouraged because you posted today and you didn't get the results that you want, because you are in alignment and you looking at the vision of your future and you're focusing on that. You are not easily getting distracted, but what is happening today, what is happening tomorrow. And this goes beyond, this is for me so important because this does shape your personality in the way that you become so aligned and so ethical, right? And you use your time wisely. So it's going to reduce the burnout, the self-doubt, all those things. And it starts little by little. So when you are going to set your goals, what you want to do is you have to forgive yourself for the past. Because if we talk about quantum physics and energetics, the only time that exists is right now. We are not linear beings. We think we are, but that's for another day. So setting the goals that you really want is taking inventory of your life. What am I doing as soon as I wake up? Because when I wake up, my brain is primed to be highly suggestible. Am I reaching for the phone? Am I doing something that later on, what you're doing is you're delaying satisfaction that later on is going to help me throughout the day? I'm going to give you a personal example. If I reach for the phone the first thing in the morning and I don't need, even if it's 20 minutes, at 2 or 3 in the afternoon, my energy is completely blocked. I am completely asleep. I'm so tired. But if I do the routine that I know that is the routine of that CEO that can handle all these moving parts that I have around me, in the afternoon, I feel so energized and I feel so good and I get so many things done. So the first thing is take inventory. What habits do I know that aren't helping me? And anything that is furthering me from my goals of becoming that organized, confident, self-loving, powerful, aligned person is a habit that needs to go. And I have to create a routine that is in accordance to who I want to become. That's the first thing. The second thing is asking yourself open-ended questions. Who is this person that makes 6 and 7 figures? And answer yourself. When it comes from here and from the heart into paper, you are unblocking your own self. We all have the answers within, all of us. We just sometimes fear opening up that Pandora box and really facing like the reality, but we all have the answers within. After you know who you need to become in order to achieve that, the second thing that you're going to do, which is crucial, I shared this before, but if you haven't heard it, the first time that I touched real success in business with regards to money was when I kept my word to myself. This was huge. And this can come from limiting beliefs. This can come from when I was small, trauma, just so many things, but really doing what I said I was going to do without caring how I felt. But in order to make that process easier for me, I started to meditate. And you guys know I can talk about meditation for hours, but in reality, the reason why is because when you meditate, you lower your brain waves, and that shuts down the amygdala and the resistance, and it activates what is called the reticular activating system, which is a system that we have in our brain, and that when we close our eyes and we visualize how the future is or how we want it to be, it starts drawing those things closer to us. This is not woo, this is pure science. So when we understand this and we understand that we have been setting goals from almost like shame and pressure, an example of this, like I said, is I need to reach 10K months. Really what that does is it puts us in this place where we are consistently posting, but kind of like in a rush, in a pressure, we get easily discouraged and we turn up or end up in burnout. And one of the things here to have clarity around is identity based goal setting is who I am becoming. So instead of having your brain work against you, because when we set goals based on pressure and fear and burnout, the reticular activating system, which is the area of the brain that is responsible for helping you control your emotions, is out of control. The amygdala, which is the fear center, says, I am taking over, inundating your body with these hormones and chemicals in forms of emotions that you can't even imagine. And your reticular activating system, which is the part of the brain that is responsible for helping you or drawing things closer to you, is actually doing the complete opposite. It is reinforcing those old beliefs. When we give the brain an identity-based coach, who do I need to become or who am I becoming, the habits that we have to incorporate become very easy. Our routine, our to-do list, it's almost like it is put right in front of us and like a veil is lifted. And that could be as simple as, I know that if I stay here working and in self-doubt and in lacking confidence and in doubting everything, then all I'm going to get are those beliefs reinforced in the form of a reality to me. I'm going to give you an example. One of my clients, I started working with her 3 months ago. One of my one-on-one private clients, Adriana. She had the knowledge, she had the certification, but she had really inconsistent sales. And when she came to me, she thought the first thing that she needed was more strategy. And the more we talked about, everything was must, I have to, I haven't. It was like this self form of criticism. I'm never going to get there. It's never going to happen for me. I've tried everything. I've done everything I can. And before giving her strategy, I knew for a fact that we needed to regulate that nervous system because that woman was in survival. One of the things that she told me was, Vanessa, I would post and I would take like 2 hours to create a post, but I would post and the energy that I would post with was, oh, it's still not going to work. Oh, I'm still not going to get clients. And then when people would inquire about her service, she would self-sabotage herself. She wouldn't respond. She wouldn't show up for the Zoom calls. And it wasn't that she wanted, it was that belief that she had that it's not going to be enough. What I'm giving is not enough. They're going to think I'm a fraud and all of these things, which is basically an indicator that your brain is working against you. From that place, it's going to be really hard to achieve your goals because one of the first things that we have to shift in mindset is it is progress, not perfection. It is an everyday thing, the compound effect, instead of thinking that you have to do everything in one day. And if you don't, then setting yourself up in this loop of I'm stuck, nothing is working, because that's exactly what you're sending the signal to your brain. So if you identify or resonate, and if you're here, I know that you are, then the first thing that you want to ask yourself is, who do I need to become? And the habits that are not working in your favor are going to be so apparent. Maybe it's the constant self-doubt. Maybe it's that you are setting these huge goals almost to stay in that loop or in that continuous circle of feeling disappointed in yourself, right? There's this vision that they have sold us that in 30K, in 30 days, you're going to make 30K. Do not believe that. That is not how your brain works. That's not how goal setting works. And that's not how you scale a business if you haven't gotten there. So keep that in mind. The second thing is you have to choose yourself in the sense that your goal is to become that person. And becoming that person is having the habits of that person that has a 7 and 6 figure business. And if somebody else has been able to do it, you will be able to do it. You can use your brain to work in your favor instead of using your brain to work against you. That is the first thing that you have to understand. That's very, very important. Let me just make sure that this is working properly. When you set goals the proper way, what you're doing is you're giving your brain a thing, an objective to look forward to. You are priming your brain to reach a destination. And that takes away, again, the fear, the procrastination, because something else that I want you to know is procrastination is nothing more than a defense mechanism. It's not that you're lazy or that you don't want to reach your goals. Now that you have the information, the next thing is to get into action and understanding that along the way, there might be moments where your old identity wants to peek out and say, you can't do this. It's not for you. It will never happen. And the only person that can stop it is you. And you, like I've said before, you have tools, meditation, going for a walk, reading a book, even taking a little bit of rest. Because when you do that, you cannot imagine the amount of energy that you will be able to conserve in your body. And this is like pushing forward your goals on drive. It's just this incredible thing that happens. Clear example is Adriana. She would work all day and feel like she didn't accomplish anything. And now her set schedule is from 9 to 12. And she's like, Vanessa, I have more energy and I have accomplished more in these 3 months than I feel that I have in such a long amount of time in my life. So if she did it and I do it, you can do it as well. I put together a workbook because for me, this is so important and it changed my life. If you want the workbook, let me know below. And I hope that you enjoyed this new episode of Becoming Her, because that's exactly what I want you to do. And I want you to become part of this community where you not only reach your tangible, realistic, or real life goals, but also do it with a sense of purpose and presence and confidence. And the alignment that this is going to bring you is going to be incredible. So you have the information, but if you don't put it into practice, nothing really is going to happen in your life. If you need the workbook and you're going to do it, let me know below. If you liked the episode, please subscribe and leave a comment. Let me know if you have any questions. I love answering questions. You know that I think I am a teacher, so that goes for that. In the workbook, you'll be able to see whether it's procrastination or your nervous system and kind of how to identify and shift the way that you speak and the way that you set goals. And then when you do it, let me know how it goes. I am also launching a 4-month mastermind. If you want want to have more information, if you want to have a talk about this is really for women that want to scale and get to the next level in their business and that are ready to do it. It's not really if you still have a lot of doubts or you're not sure or your business is kind of negotiable, it's not something that it's your priority, then this wouldn't be for you. But if you really need to know that this is your year of having that established business and those foundations and really working with the medicine that you know that you have, then let's chat. I'll tell you more about it. It's only for 8 women. We have 6 spots left. I haven't officially announced it to the world, but if you have this video, then you will be the first to know. And I will talk to you guys on the next episode of Becoming Her.